The other day I released the first part of this video, and honestly, unsurprisingly, within a couple of hours the video was already outdated, so this video is to talk about what's come out since. Because there's been a bit, there's some new people who have come out, a new statement by Kyle even, and some additional context added from the previous video. I've updated a pinned comment on the original video with most of this information, which I'll do in the comments of this video if more comes to light, which given what I'm going to read is probable. Let's get into it. A statement was released before my video went out, around an hour prior to the video. It was posted anonymously on Twitter, but I wanted to read it anyway. As it's anonymous, you may therefore question its legitimacy, but I'm taking it at face value for the sake of this video. It says, "This is in regards to the active Kyle David Hall situation. I'm a past girlfriend that was probably his longest relationship. Kyle and I were together for 3 years and I did not have the best experience with him. But I'm not here to dish all that out on the internet. I'm also not here to defend him. I just want to say something. I've been through the worst of it with Kyle. I've been on the other side of his ugliest moments. And what I can say is that he is a deeply mentally ill person that has been victimized by many people in the industry. He doesn't have a healthy way of dealing with these things. I'm not saying that is an excuse for him being manipulative. There is no excuse. But this person is extremely mentally ill and in such a dark place. I urge you to stop beating a dead horse. As a person who, and I promise this, he has hurt the most and put through the most, please stop flooding the internet with hate and negativity directed at him. He is not posting about suicide for shits and giggles. He is deeply serious and is experiencing suicidal ideations. This person has been admitted for this exact thing, and I urge you to just leave his space on the internet instead of sending him threats, telling him to kill himself, doxing his home address, etc. Spread awareness, do what you need to do, but what you don't need to do is push someone over a ledge that they're already standing on." After this came out, almost exactly 2 hours after my video, so roughly like 3 hours after the previous thing I read, there was a statement that was posted by another user, and this is largely regarding the first part of the first video. It says, "Hello, I felt the need to come on here and say a few things really quick. First off, this private situation was never supposed to be public. It was a private conversation between two individuals about something that none of you know the truth about. I never publicly talked about this situation except for 1 or 2 tweets trying to clear the air. I never went to his fans, and I certainly never made a group chat to try and coerce anybody into saying absolutely anything. I was given information from an individual about what they endured during their time spent talking to him. Never was there a statement from either of the people actually involved saying anything of what actually happened. Nobody called him a groomer. People strung things along until people started coming to their own conclusions. Doxing somebody is never okay and never should have happened. But neither I or the other person involved had absolutely anything to do with giving any of his personal information to anybody else. I've never said what happened to me publicly, and the other individual also never gave details on what happened. Doxing and lying and blowing things out of proportion is very damaging to the victims in this situation, and I would like to urge everybody to stop making up stories, stop making their own conclusions, and stop harassing him. Because in reality, none of you know exactly what happened. Again, I never publicly said anything specific about my situation, never name dropped. I also never made a group chat with his fans, and I especially did not try to tell anybody anything with the intention to quote unquote cancel him. I'll go into more detail soon, but please stop harassing people, doxing people, and lying. Thank you." This does imply there will be evidence of some sort coming from them at some time, but that there may also be another person too. I mean, I'm going to talk about someone else shortly, but I don't think there's anything in the previous statement that implies the person I'm going to talk about is the other person that they mention. Anyway, next we have a Google document made by someone who, if you watched MTE or Kyle around then, you'll likely know. Someone who I was actually asked to make an online disappearance video about, who I couldn't find anything about. It seemed like they dropped off the face of the internet. This was tweeted the day after my video went out. Just as a warning, there's bits of this that I'm going to skip over because I'm not comfortable talking about it on here, but it will be linked in the description if you want to read it. Hello, I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but I do know Kyle David Hall is being outed as a weirdo. I am Meghan Marie, and I dated Kyle from around July 2015 to around January 2016. While I've lost a lot of messages, these are the ones I've retained over the years. My quote-unquote statement as well as video explanations are at the bottom, and I've also included screenshots of messages he sent to others, and screenshots of allegations/posts made by others recently that brought this to light. His statement can be found via his Twitter. Now before we go on, 2 things. I'm not going to reread the statements because they were in the first video if you want to know what they are. And also the posts and allegations and stuff, they're also in the first video. And although it's posted at the bottom as it was stated just before, I want to read the statement first for full context of what you're going to see. The statement reads, "First and foremost, I want to make it clear I'm posting this for the sake of healing, and most importantly making sure this pattern does not continue. This does not warrant harassment / doxing / etc. I'm not here to start anything, I only share my story. I've held on to these for years and debated whether or not it was ever worth coming out about the abuse I suffered. I was a 14-year-old fan of his and our relationship was public as he initially started interacting with me via tweets and Twitter DMs, and later had me in some of his videos, live streams and posts, and one or two My Digital Escape videos. After we broke up, I had multiple hate pages and all my social media was flooded with people saying I used him for fame and telling me to myself. Eventually I deleted almost all my original accounts to distance myself from the scene as much as possible. I'm not looking to pursue actions beyond making people aware of what he did to me as well as others. With recent allegations, I feel comfortable enough to share with the hopes my story will be heard and won't receive the backlash I've lived in fear of for years." The next bit, I'm just gonna read the descriptions posted as to what these images are about. You can pause and read them if you want. This one is labeled "Getting Angry Over Being Told He Has Anger Issues." The description of this one reads, "The little girl shit always weirded me the fuck out, considering I was 14 and he was 17 when we started dating. I turned 15 in October, broke up sometime after my 15th birthday. While legal and frequently happening in the community at the time, weird as someone in the public eye and out of school at the time, in my opinion, given I was going into my freshman year of high school. The context for this is always trying to make everything sexual all the time. Unfortunately, I deleted a lot of messages while we were dating and after we broke up because I was young and didn't want my parents to find out or whatever." The context for this is where I went to see him in Ohio, I think around New Year's 2015. I begged to go home early because he kept being super shitty to me and getting angry at me over me just like not behaving how he thought I should. He had spent like $100 to $150 extra to get the flight changed and then he yelled at me over how it supposedly overdrafted his account and whatever. I then heard him go downstairs to his mum and calmly ask her to drive him to the bank so he could put cash in, and I heard him say it wouldn't overdraft, he just needed to deposit the cash. This is referring to when we went to hang out with his friend Billy at the time and his girlfriend, and I was, I guess, just acting like a 15-year-old. He said I made his friends uncomfortable and some other stuff, which I later confirmed to have not been true. Anecdotal, I would say or do some stuff and he would say something shitty or give me a dirty look and then his friends looked uncomfortable. After us breaking up, I said I didn't want to get sent hate because from the moment we started dating I had multiple hate pages made for me on Instagram and would constantly get DMs and interactions telling me to off myself, that I was using him, etc. Just all sorts of bullying. Not his fault, but God knows what that shit was doing to my brain at the time too. Then post some videos of the conversation which we'll go through. This first video is about an argument started over him getting mad over God knows what. Earlier in the day he argued that Chinese buffets aren't a thing, and as you can see he randomly turned the argument to say I was trying to use him for fame or whatever. I guess the argument originally started because I probably said some Shrek meme or something around his friends, judging by the end of the video. Carl responded to this with a statement and he said, "I was also a kid during the entirety of that relationship. We broke up well before I became an adult. The pet name is indeed weird. She claimed at the time that she wanted to be called that. Again, I was a kid during the start to end of that relationship. I agree the age gap is not something I'm proud of and that was public knowledge at that time almost 10 years ago. Many of these messages I would never send now as I've grown up and I'm an adult. We're both kids and shouldn't have been messaging each other like that. I've also become much more in tune with my anger issues and do wish she didn't have to experience that side of me. Again, we're both kids." Meghan responded by saying, "I never asked to be called that, lol. I'm not a scared little 15-year-old fangirl anymore. I'm not going to let you gaslight and manipulate me." But that's all we have for this video. Don't forget, there'll be a pinned comment if more comes to light, and if you're confused about the context of some of this video and you haven't seen the first one, it'll be on the end screen and in the description. Thanks for watching.